Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Marcus Räder. How are you, Marcus?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I don't get to speak to a lot of podcast hosts from Ontario.
Yeah, it's great. It doesn't. We don't really get any guests either. Mostly they're, Europe, we get Australia, America, but not much from Canada. So it's great to have you. But we always like to begin with giving you the stage and kind of introducing yourself in your own words and what you do.
All right, thank you. I'll be happy to do that. My name is Marcus. Those from the industry, which I'll get to soon, they know me as Marcus from Hostaway. That's the brand. Hostaway provides vacation rental software, and it's really that simple. We're a company. We're 7 years old, and we used to have all these pitches to investors and difficult problems and solutions, value propositions, ICPs, and so on. But it's to break it down, it's really simple. We got vacation rentals out there. We got people who operate them. They need a platform to run their business on. We sell that platform. And the problem that it's solving is literally the need for software. It's very hard to describe until, yeah, exactly. And it's very hard to describe to someone who's never walked or never used shoes. But it's a bit like when it's rainy outside and you want to put shoes on. And the problem isn't that it's raining or that it's cold or that there's glass on the street. The problem is literally that you need shoes. And the solution to that isn't to, wait until it stops raining. No, the solution is simple. It's shoes. That's what we provide. And we're doing a better job than anyone else in the market, at least this year. We raised our sales target 3 times. We're at least 7 times bigger than pre-pandemic, even though we're in the travel industry. And we're closing in on 100 staff members right now.
Amazing.
And we can't recruit fast enough. So things are going really well. And the industry is booming as well. I mean, Airbnb did an IPO during a pandemic, and as I'm sure you know, if you try to rent a cottage, it's not an easy job to just
not easy. So I will have to tell you one thing, Marcus. I love your branding. I love the flow of the website. Everything is it's on point. Like the fonts, it feels like from the top to bottom, you continue to get more and more excited for the information. That's what I felt.
Thank you very much. But I have to say it's a bit, maybe I'm giving up business secrets here. I hope the competitors aren't listening, but we're cheating a bit on the website. Our marketing, in the beginning of the pandemic, we had to let our entire marketing staff go. And pretty much everything you see in marketing is built by the founders, including the website. And I think that's something that is, I can say it here because I know that it's very hard to replicate because founders are busy people. And if some competitors are listening there, I'm sure even though you wanted to build a website yourself, it's something that you may not have the time for because it takes many years to get a good website. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
No problem. Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about competition. Competition is a beautiful thing, so do your thing and it's working. So, kudos to you. So do you find, what are your most of your clientele? Is it Airbnb or is it people that have their own private locations that they use your platform for outside of Airbnb?
It's honestly a mix of everything. So our typical client would have either they own multiple properties, some of them own only one, or they own multiple properties, but they also manage on behalf of their friends and family. And some of them are really professional. I can name one client that we have They have over 200 full-time staff, and they manage over 8,000 individual properties in 6 different countries.
And they use your platform for it.
Exactly. So they use us to advertise these properties, to set the correct rates, the right parameters for marketing them, and then we upload them to places like Airbnb, Vrbo, Expedia, and Booking.com.
Okay, so what would be your number one benefit than someone? I know the one would be is that if you just post it on Airbnb and allow them to market it for you is one thing, right? But using your platform, you distribute it to different platforms. That's a benefit. But other than that, is there what's a major benefit that they have than posting it directly on these sites than using you guys?
So just related, so that's one aspect of the business. You're talking about marketing, how to sell the product, or in other words, how to get people to book. So that's something that our platform helps with. And I'd say the main benefit is that you can get your properties distributed faster to multiple places. So instead of spending an afternoon getting it set up on Airbnb, you can spend an afternoon on Hostaway and get it set up on 5 or 10 different platforms. But still, that's only marketing. Then you have all the other aspects of your business. You got to manage your staff. You got to do accounting. You got to do the sales. Sometimes people ask, "Hey, can I bring my dog?" Or is the swimming pool heated? What's the temperature? Now that's a sales funnel. And when you want to scale that, you need a CRM. Now that's what our software provides. Then a lot of our customers, they want to build their own website because they have something unique as keywords that Airbnb never can copy. And that's usually their location. So if they're around a small lake, let's say Angel Wing Lake, then when people Google Angel Wing Lake Cottages, if you own angelwinglakecottages.com, you're going to be higher up than anyone else who doesn't have those words in their title. And that's why you want your own booking website, especially if you got a competitor around the same lake who doesn't have that domain. Yes. And then, as you scale up, you got to manage your cleanings. You got to manage your staff. You do all of that with us. And then there's a lot of different tools out there. We got over 100 softwares on our marketplace. For example, smart locks. You got to change the door code for every guest, and you want that automatically. Then you want it automated so that the guest receives a door code. Yeah, in the best example, you just send the same message to every guest. You say, "Hey, hello, guest. Your phone number, the last 4 digits of your phone number, that's the door code.
Simple.
Welcome."
Simple, That's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's that's something that sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's something that the OTAs can't offer because they're essentially just marketing channels, and some of them do the entire transaction, a bit like Uber or Amazon. Airbnb, for example, they do the entire transaction. So the guest is not actually booking the cottage, they're buying a service from Airbnb.com. But other than that, that's just marketing and sales. To run a business, you need everything else as well, and that's what our platform provides.
And the detailed features like the lock code is a great feature, because especially for that example that you said about the 200 doors, it would be so much easier for it to just have it saved that it automates that part, right?
Yeah, and the industry that we're in is, on one hand travel, but on the other hand real estate, and those two are, first of all, very old industries. I mean, the whole concept of Airbnb, of staying in someone's home, 5,000 years ago, if you trekked through Europe, you could knock on someone's door and ask if you could stay. So the business model is very, very old. But they're also the two industries that have been really revamped. I mean, the whole idea of travel agencies, even 20 years ago, it was completely changed, where suddenly you didn't go into a store, but you booked your own trips online. And it wasn't the offline services moving to online, it was the consumer behavior changed. You didn't want someone else to tell you which hotel to stay at. You wanted to do your own research. So not only was it a digitization, it was also a complete change of consumer behavior. And then the same thing with real estate. Today, you can book any home anywhere thanks to Airbnb and the other OTAs. And that's something that wasn't really possible 25 years ago. You had to know people to know where to get a cottage, or use your family cottage or your cousin's cottage.
So OTA stands for
online travel agency. So that would be Airbnb, Expedia, Booking.com. Those are the big names.
Yeah. So what is your plan now with this? Like this, it sounds incredible. It sounds big, and it sounds like it has a potential to become something like even bigger than Expedia, right? So what are the plans for the next 2, 3, 5 years?
That's a great question. I mean, one of the things that we really have enjoyed on this journey is how going through that whole circle of creating a category that didn't exist when we started. And just to give one example, when we got started, today, if you ask Airbnb, they'll say, they won't say that you should use Hostaway, but they will say that we have 28 preferred partners. And here's the list. And these are the software companies that we recommend. And Hostaway is one of them. But then you have Vrbo, and they have a list of elite partners. And there's 10 of them. And then when you cross-reference those, you get only a couple of them. And we're one of those who are both there. But back when we started, these companies didn't want any partnerships. They didn't want to share their piece of cake with anyone. So we had massive barriers of entry. So we've gone through all of that. And one of the things we learned is that, and this I think applies to every single startup, especially the ones at the early stage, they all think they're unique, that the solutions that all the other companies found won't work for them. For example, work harder, work smarter, do this, do that. They think, oh, but that doesn't work for us because we're different. And yes, every startup is different, but on the other hand, those solutions actually work.
Yeah.
But usually the solutions are not the answers an entrepreneur wants to hear, because it involves a lot of money and hard work.
Yes. So are you guys running any TV ads or billboards or anything like that, or newspaper ads? Or?
That's a really good question. I think in 2016, a friend of mine went to London, and on the subway, they saw an ad that said, "Are you traveling a lot? Would you like to rent out your home and earn extra income as you travel?" And that was an ad by our customer in the London tube.
Really?
And yes, and that was in 2016. And that was really exciting for us, because we realized that this industry is big enough to have ads like that. But I think still, for being a software, I mean, unless HubSpot and Pipedrive has TV ads, then probably we won't, because we're like those companies, but they serve a lot of different industries. You know, an accountant can use HubSpot. Someone selling sports event tickets or sponsorships, they can use HubSpot. We can use HubSpot.
I use HubSpot.
Software. Exactly. So there's a very wide variety, whereas our software is limited. You know, if you're an entrepreneur and if you paint people's homes, our software isn't the right software for you. But if you rent them out on Airbnb, then we're the right software. So I think we're a bit far away from TV ads just yet, because we don't have anything facing the consumer. No. Airbnb has, the consumer would go on Airbnb.com and book a place, but we don't have anything towards the consumer. We're strictly B2B.
So are there any plans to kind of diversify, by helping people acquire real estate, like funding or interior design, like anything? Are you thinking anything outside of this realm, something complementing what you do?
Absolutely. There is an endless amount of opportunities. And that's, I love that word. Really, really exciting. The way we have done it so far, because becoming the market leader, even if it's a niche market, it's not exactly easy, because it's like juggling a million balls. And you drop one, you're going to drop the rest. So you need to keep juggling. The way we started looking at these opportunities is we started building a marketplace. This was over 5 years ago, we said, okay, this is going to be it. But especially in 2020, we said, okay, we're going to launch our marketplace. It was being built for many years, but it wasn't launched. So we now have a marketplace with over 100 different providers. So there's payment processing, there's insurance, there's pricing algorithms, there's people who will build you a custom website. They'll design your home. Pretty much any add-on services you might want is there on the marketplace, and we do that to measure the demand. And many of those we never want to expand into. I can give an example. We have a partner called PriceLabs, and it's very popular among our customers. All they do is they measure in real time. They measure who is booking where and how many properties are available at what prices. And then they give you, if you're one place or 1,000, they give you the perfect price for every night. And they do that. We're integrated, so they upload it into our system and we distribute it to the world.
So it's an
they
API.
just raised 30 million. Yeah, and they just raised 30 million.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So it's a big industry and there's a lot of opportunities, but it doesn't mean that we would be interested in pursuing all of
everything. Yeah, of course. Whatever, obviously you're going to gain the data with that marketplace, right? Is that marketplace built into the dashboard, into the software?
Yes, it is. And we have a strict requirement of having an integration in place so that it provides value for the software, for the user of the software.
So how did you get into this, Marcus? What were you doing right before saying, I'm doing this? What was the series of events, or what was the situation, circumstance, or there was no circumstance, it just came to you? What is the story behind this?
So I graduated school quite late. I think I was 26 years old. And I worked in startups for about 8 years, mostly in Europe. I lived in Finland, Poland, Sweden, Amsterdam.
Nice.
And I think it was in 2013.
Amsterdam was fun?
Wife's. Yes, really, really fun. But as with a lot of places that are really authentic and fun, it's hard for an outsider to get in. So we learned, me and my wife, very quickly that we can't really be Dutch unless we married Dutch, but we wanted to marry each other, so it didn't quite work out, and that's one of the reasons why we moved out. Now in 2013, my wife got an offer to move to Canada. We thought, what's Canada? Let's find out. And I suggested to my job, hey, how about I continue working from Canada? And they said no.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, so we stayed in Finland. And then in 2015, we got the same offer, and I had changed jobs. And I went and asked, can I do this now? And they said, no.
No.
So we decided to move to Canada anyway. And I got here, and I went on a job interview that with a connection I had from Finland as a newly landed immigrant. And then I got an aptitude test in front of me. And it had questions like how many ounces are in a gallon,
the Canadian,
and how many yards in a mile. And I didn't know anything about the imperial system. I had no idea. I thought, okay, well, is this something that you divide by 12, or maybe you divide by 8? Because you for sure don't divide by 10. It can't be that simple, because that's the metric system. So it's something else than 10. And I had no idea how these things work, and I didn't get the job. And I thought, well, this really sucks. But you know what's interesting? What if there was an app that let you rent out real estate around the world? That would be really cool, because I had my place in Amsterdam still left. And I thought, what if I put that on Airbnb?
So sorry, when they said no to you at that time, because you couldn't get that job, you're saying, why don't I start an app that caters to rental properties? Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, first I just wanted rental income. I just wanted some income, because it's hard, to be without money.
Yeah, of course.
And then I started looking into it, and I found out that Airbnb can't actually do that. I can rent out, advertise my place in Amsterdam on Airbnb, But when it's time to let the guest in, Airbnb doesn't do that. When it's time to fix a broken toilet, Airbnb doesn't do that. When it's time to clean the home, Airbnb doesn't do that.
Wow, you
And
covered
when something
everything.
goes wrong, when the guest steals something, Airbnb doesn't do that. And I get it, because it's a marketplace. It's a
Yeah.
If you place an ad on Craigslist, to sell a guitar, Craigslist doesn't come
That's
and
it.
pick up the guitar
Yeah,
from your basement
yeah,
and
I
give
get
it
it.
to the buyer. No, you have to do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I thought there must be an app for that. And I was amazed to find out that there wasn't any app for that. I later found out that the whole idea of having an app for manual labor was a bit stupid, because it hasn't been done in any other industries. But what I did find out was incredibly exciting. I found out that actually the companies doing exactly that, they're called property managers, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the whole view that I had, and the image and brand of Airbnb back in 2015, was that it was a amateur platform where people make some extra money on the side by renting out the spare bedroom. That's what I thought it was. And it turns out reality was everything else. It was professional property managers operating with semi-professional or even professional investors, managing 20, 40, 100, 500 units, and there were thousands of them. So I started interviewing them, and just in Toronto I interviewed 40 property managers. One of them, I remember, he had over 100 apartments, but not even in Canada. He had them in Paris, France. And his partner was on foot in Paris, and he was in Regent Park in Toronto. And that was just
You made his life easy.
mind-blowing. Yeah. And that's when I started realizing that this industry, if I didn't know it, because my hobby is real estate, if I didn't know it's like this, that means there's a lot of other people that don't realize how it works either. So I started reaching out to my network to find co-founders, and I found two fantastic co-founders, technical, and then one who had the network to raise capital and knowledge of how to do legal and financial. And then we set out on a journey.
Wow. Well, now let me ask you, Marcus, from that moment till now, how many properties do you own now?
Me, I got 6.
Amazing.
But
So
I
beautiful.
don't rent out any on Airbnb, to be honest. I tried this summer. I tried to rent out my home, because I spent August in Montreal, and it was absolutely amazing, because we like Montreal.
Best time.
Yeah.
Montreal's the best time in August.
Yeah, and we tried to rent out our home through a property manager, and they eventually backed out last minute. They said there's too many things here. Their guests are going to have high requirements, and it's not worth the risk. So it's because the rates are so high right now that you need to meet much higher requirements. So you can't just take an ordinary home. Let's say my home is just like all my neighbors' homes. It has its own problems. For example, adjusting the temperature on the shower. Well, you need to know exactly how to do it. And then there's some trimmings on some walls that aren't perfect. They probably need to repaint a wall here and there. And then I think we don't have a big freezer. Every home is unique, but the type of experience that the travelers expect today, they don't want a unique home. They really don't. What they want is standardized. They want everything to work. And if they're paying a luxury price, it needs to be luxury. That means everything needs to work. So renting out your, let's say, authentic home is not a good selling point anymore today. Because that was, at least, pre-pandemic, that was something that people, they wanted a local experience, which meant, let's say if you go to Spain, if you're from the US and you go to Spain or Italy, you're going to be missing items in the home that you're used to. But that's okay, because it's an authentic, let's say you go to Italy, you get a real Italian experience. But that's no longer okay at these prices. You need a real, let's say, elevated experience. The expectations are higher.
Higher, yes. The audience, please just listen to Marcus here, man. Like, he had trouble, right? He had challenges. And in those challenges, he found an opportunity, like follow the trail. And from that opportunity, he's probably resourceful from beforehand, but he became more resourceful, found the right people, and put all this together. Like, creation is like an art. When you look at people like Marcus, you can see that painting, and you can see it, you can hear it in his voice. That is just beautiful art. Like, if you actually paint his life, and it'll be like a beautiful art, how he came into this world of success with this platform and what he's doing. And he has a niche that he's catering. He's making it simplified. When you're renting out properties, these little things, these codes and the issues with the property, when you have to go out and take care of it, or you're calling people, can you get there? I'll get there in 24 hours kind of thing. He is taking care of it with this kind of idea and this platform. So if you guys are thinking something like this, become resourceful. Sorry, Marcus, I just had to put that in there because I really got excited about that story.
Thank you. That's very good to hear. I could hear the passion in your voice as well. But I want to remind just the entrepreneurs out there that it's, if you have all the resources available to start a business, you got the network, you got the money, you got the skills, the knowledge. I've never seen that work. It's very rare. There's a couple of exceptions. I think Stripe is a great example of that, where you have two brothers who only have $5 million each on the bank account, and they're able to bootstrap this great business. But that's the exception. What I've seen rather with entrepreneurs, and especially successful first-time entrepreneurs, is they're missing something. Either they're missing the experience, they have to learn everything from scratch, or they're missing the money that's needed to start a business, or they're missing something else. And in our case, we missed a lot of things, and it made us so much stronger that we had to find, we had to battle the windmills like nobody else.
But that's resourcefulness, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
because
what teaches
resourcefulness,
you to use resources in the right way, and the less you have, the better you can get at using them.
Yeah, and I think the foundational thing that we missed here is the mindset. Because if you don't believe, if you feel like, I don't know if I can do it, maybe the victim mindset or the limited mindset, whatever it is, many people don't even take that first step to even try being resourceful, right? So I feel mindset is like a foundation, right? And definitely you had a great mindset about this idea. I get really excited. I love this stuff when I hear it. That's actually one of the passions here, is that I love bringing people on with this kind of story and sharing it with people. So, if there's any property managers listening to this, anybody who owns rental properties, doing the nitty gritty, getting, their hands dirty, feeling that frustration of managing the properties, you have the answer here. So, Marcus, I also like to ask what you feel your inner superpower is that got you to this point in your life.
That's a really good question. One, I actually asked that question from my father, because at some point I was really, really confused, because it seemed like everything was just going right when it had been going wrong for 30 years, and then suddenly it started going right. And I asked him, I have no idea what's happening. And he said, well, everything that you've told me over the last 10 years, it's as if you have been planting these seeds and they didn't grow, but now they're all growing at the same time. And I asked, what seeds are those? And he said, well, those are the seeds of luck. You haven't been lucky at all. You have been so focused on planting these seeds that will grow in the future that you think you're lucky now because you're successful. But that's not the case. I've seen this. I've seen the struggle, and I've seen how you have been planting the seeds of luck your entire life, and now it's paying off. It's time to reap what you saw. And I think that was really inspiring, because I don't like luck at all. Because if you get successful because you're lucky, if you win the lottery, well, bad luck can hit you just as easy. But if you have a long-term goal that you're working towards that eventually will work out, then if you have been working on it for decades, it's much less likely that someone's going to come and take that away.
So let me ask you a question. All the times that things didn't work out, what would you rate your belief system, your belief about those projects from 1 to 10, 1 being the weakest, 10 being the highest, and then give me your belief on this project, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest?
I only do extremes, which is a very good benefit when you're leading a company above a certain threshold, let's say above 10 employees or above 50 employees, and the company is successful. Suddenly being black or white is really good. When you're unsuccessful or leading a small team, then being black and white can be quite disastrous. But I'm always black and white, so I'm going to say when things go wrong on a scale from 1 to 10, it's always a 1. It's never. There is absolutely
but your inner
no
belief.
hope.
So your belief when you went into, your belief about those projects that didn't work out, if you remember back then, what rating would you give your belief about that project when you went into it?
I think every project, when I go into it, I will only go in if the belief is 10.
So they all were 10, even this one and the previous ones that didn't work out?
Yes, when you go in, and then but the downside there is you get beaten double hard, because if you say maybe it'll work out, maybe it doesn't, then if it doesn't, you're already prepared. But one of the most magical things that I never ever understood, but people kept repeating it in business school and mentors and other startups, is you got to aim high. Because if you hit your target, then the higher you aimed, the more rewards you will get. Well, I don't know what the exact saying is, but basically we were aiming too low at the beginning of our company, and even that low, it was unrealistic to meet it, to reach break even.
Even that was big.
Yes, but even now, looking back, it was way too low. We were way because it was so fast, the movement when we started suddenly not only hitting the goals after failing for many years and not even being close, to suddenly hitting the goals and then succeeding them. That was very confusing. Amazing. And then I realized that we hit them because we had those goals and we were more focused on reaching them. But what if we have set them even higher? Maybe we would have hit
you still have time
too. Yeah.
Yeah, you still have this. It's time to revisit those goals, and you had those detailed goals as well. That makes a big difference when you have a detailed goal, because the reason why I can assume that is because of the resourcefulness that you went through and putting people together. You must have had a detailed goal for you to be able to even become that resourceful to put those pieces in the right place. So, maybe it's time to look at it again and do something, much, much bigger.
Absolutely. We raised our sales targets four times this year. I mean, the entire year sales targets.
Awesome. Love it.
They are raised 4 times. So Perfect. Almost every second month, because we're hitting the targets too fast.
Amazing. Well, Marcus, I'll tell you, man, I'm so grateful that you came on this show. You uplifted me, you inspired me, you make me feel good, because this information is going out to the public, and someone out there is going to hear this, and it might make a world of difference to that person, what you shared today. And I'm grateful, and I'm thankful and for you to come on this show and make the time and allow me to spread your message and help you with this.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been really fun.
No problem. No problem. And audience, again, love you guys. Just continue to engage, share the episode. Marcus's information is going to be in the show notes. Get in touch with him. Check out his platform. Check out the design. Let me know. Message me, comment, tell me, DM me, whatever. Tell me what you think about that website. Like I shared what I thought about the website. So you guys share as well, because it uplifted me. It got me excited. As much as more and more I went down that website, the more excited I got because of the colors and the fonts and everything. So definitely engage, allow us, share with us what you think. Get in touch with Marcus. And again, we all appreciate you very much. And go out there, take action, learn from Marcus. And thank you. And thank you, Marcus.
Thank you as well.